Hi guys, it's ALCHEMY. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. Today I'm doing a spotlight on a very cute, wonderful little English brand called Ostens. So these fragrances were recommended to me by a good friend of mine, Matt, from Questioning Scents. I'll put his channel below. He smelled them and he said, you need to try them. They're really great, lovely brand, and they're UK based. And you know what I always say, love to support the UK brands. So Matt put me in touch with them and the guys very kindly sent me this cuteness. Look at this little mini bookcase of perfumes, if you will. I imagine if you've got a bookcase, you can put this on your bookcase and it's like a mini bookcase of perfume just for you. So about the brand, it is the work of two very dashing gentlemen, Chris Yu and Laurent Delafont. Did I say that right? I hope so. They've been, both of them, in the fragrance industry for, upon my research, 20 years at least, and they work with very big name perfumers. I'm not sure in what capacity they've been in the fragrance industry, but they're very much involved in the fragrance industry, and they've worked with people like Francis Kurkdjian. The most impressive one to me was Yves Cousselin, who is the founder, one of the founders of Diptyque. Yeah, Dominique Ropion, I mean the list goes on and on and on. Lynn Harris from Miller Harris. And so they're in the fragrance industry and they took a trip to Grasse, which is a place I have been to twice, went to a friend's house, got involved in the Grasse atmosphere and then made a visit to IFF and played around with loads of materials. That's a very short way of putting it. I'm sure there was much more to it, but they started thinking about how can we start a brand and make some fragrances that are really focused on materials. And that is what Ostens is about. Brands have all kinds of things that they're about. Ostens' thing is materials. So if you're a person that likes a focus on materials and a brand that purposefully seeks out very high quality raw materials, this could be the brand for you. So their fragrances come in 50 mils. They do have a discovery kit as well, and they're priced from around £105 up to, it's 105 up to 175. It depends on which one you get. Some of the materials in them are very expensive, but what I'd like to point out is before I sniff them is that they do something that I've never seen a brand do before, and I think it's very, very cute. So if you buy a 50 ml of one of their perfumes, any of them, what you get complimentary is a 9 ml oil of the raw material that the fragrance was inspired by. They call it the preparation. It's kind of, they gave this material to these perfumers and they said, go make, have fun. There are no limits, there is no budget, do what you want. For instance, here's rose oil from Esparta, create something around that. And they enlisted the help of none other than Dominique Ropion, who you guys know by now is my favorite perfumer, as well as lots of other perfumers, which I'll tell you about as I go through them, which, you know, master perfumers, very well established perfumers. So they went right to their contacts and said, you know, we've known you for a while, can you help us out? So that's a little bit about the brand. They're a relatively young brand. I think they've been around since possibly 2018. They were in British Vogue. That's when the article was published, and Vogue are usually on things quite quickly. So they've been around 3 years, I think, maybe a bit longer. For now, I'm going to smell them. I have smelled them before, but I'm going to smell them again. And they came so beautifully packaged. They came in another box that had all of these sorts of colours in the lining of it. So yeah, I just really like this. I think it's super cute. So the first one is called Impressions Patchouli Heart #1. And this is the green looking one. So this one was made by Dominique Michelon-Berthier. I've mentioned this person before. I don't know why it's ringing a bell, but I've spoken about this person before. And it says, swirls of aromatic incense and molasses-like labdanum effortlessly melt into warm liquid treacle to create a truly unique and mouth-watering scent. Not forgetting the patchouli of the past, the licorice notes of the immortelle flower have been added to soften its sweetness and give Patchouli Heart #1 a slightly smoky, earthy feeling. So I'm going to spray it and then I'll read you the notes because they focus on materials, like I said. So that's what they're about. They want to just showcase they're not an avant-garde brand. They want to just say, this is the material and look what you can do with it. So I really like that. This has top notes of pink pepper, incense accord, licorice, heart notes, rosemary, lavender absolute, immortelle absolute, and it says LMR after immortelle. I literally just messaged the guys and I said, guys, can you tell me what LMR means, please? And they said that's the name of the company that they use that source and produce a lot of the raw materials that are in their fragrances. So that's that. Then you've got the base notes are patchouli heart, labdanum absolute, and amber. So this one is really nice. They're not, this particular one, if you're scared of patchouli, and I will say this for the entire line of fragrances, what I'll say is their fragrances are created in a way that if, for instance, you don't like patchouli, if you would think, oh, I don't want to smell that, all of the fragrances they've created have made the raw material very pleasant and very wearable and not too shouty or not too fussy. They're very pristine and clean and very well made. So patchouli heart number 1, and if you were to buy this, you would get the 9ml oil of the actual patchouli oil that's in this. And what you can do with them is you can use it as a layering tool, or you can wear it alone if you just want to smell like patchouli. And I just think that's a really nice touch. I've not seen that before, so it's just a cool thing to kind of emphasize the patchouli as well as wearing the perfume, I guess. Anyway, I digress. So there are 6 of them. I need to get through them. So this one is, I can definitely feel the licorice part of what they're talking about. And the patchouli here is gentle and it's almost powdery. When you think of patchouli in the amber accord, it's often kind of blanketed in a powdery vanilla labdanum kind of thing, and you can really feel the ambery side of what patchouli gives to the amber accord, if that makes sense. It's not too hippie, it's not too 70s. Patchouli can really go sometimes BO-like, you know, or it can be, people say it's unpleasant and it's like, you know, body odor and sweat and stuff like that. But in here, everything's done quite delicately and it's really pleasant for someone that likes patchouli. I've not quite smelled patchouli like this before, so I really like it. Definitely feel the immortelle there. It's giving it that sort of foodiness. And for someone who does not like immortelle, it's actually my least favorite perfume note, along with oak moss. It works really nicely in here. Everything is very harmonious. Like I said, not too overly complicated. It's soft. It's a gentle, I would say, evening patchouli with touches of licorice, a little bit of foodiness and an amberiness without being super oriental. So I'm going to move on to the next one because we've got some to get through. The next one is Patchouli Heart number 2, it's called. And this one was made by Sophie Lab, another very prestigious perfumer. It says, this is patchouli like you've never smelt before, fresh, aromatic and elegant. Delicate notes of iris resin and violet leaf add a soft, powdery, vintage-like quality that's brightened with ambroxan and patchouli heart to create a clean, aromatic fragrance with a distinctly timeless quality. This has cypress oil, it has ginger, black pepper, violet leaf, iris, resinoid, patchouli, cypriol, ambroxan, cashmere, cyst absolute, cyst, is that labdanum? I'm not sure, and musks. The samples are 2 mils, by the way, so their little discovery kit costs £30. If you're in the UK, shipping is free on any order as well, which I think is a nice little touch. I can't speak for everyone else, sorry. Well, this is entirely different to the other patchouli. The other one was, I would say, a patchouli perfume, and this one lets iris take over. This definitely feels like a powdery, soft iris, or orris root, shall we say. And it's a touch green, and the patchouli is, I think, a background here, so it's a different take. I guess they're saying, hey look, we can use patchouli in 2 different ways. This is nice. It feels more feminine. I guess that's just the way that your brain goes when I smell iris a lot of the time. That's bad, I know, but this definitely feels more delicate, and it feels a bit, did they say vintage? I want to say vintage. I don't know if they said vintage. When I read things, I just read them for you guys. It doesn't say, oh, it does say vintage like. They got that right. It's definitely got that that iris vintage feeling, but it's woody as well, obviously from patchouli, but this isn't overly patchouli. So if you don't like patchouli, don't let that put you off. This is more throwback, again, subtle. Their fragrances aren't about I'm wearing the strongest thing in the room. They're about feel the materials and feel the delicate nuances of how they interplay with the other notes, and they're really, really nice to smell. Simple and not overly done. So the next one is called Cedarwood Heart, and it says, reminiscent of a bygone era full of sophistication and decadence, Cedarwood Heart instantly evokes a sense of nostalgia and grown-up glamour. The comforting blend of cedarwood, galbanum, and orris feels like putting on a vintage velvet jacket that lingers with treasured scent memories, from the trace of cologne and a smudge of face powder to the faint hint of whiskey and trail of tobacco leaves. So the top notes, bergamot, cardamom and violet leaf absolute. Heart notes, galbanum heart, galbanum oil, ylang, orris concrete, and the base notes are patchouli, ambergris, moss and Virginian cedarwood heart. So I really like this. It does actually remind me of something I've smelled before, but I can't remember what. So cedarwood for me is always in danger of going pencil shaving, and this one really doesn't. This feels like a very elegant, touch, coniferous type of fragrance. To me, it feels very gently mossy. The cedarwood here is being really well behaved. It's kind of smooth as well. And it feels a bit peppery. I don't know why. It feels like if a green pepper, but I'm not talking about a capsicum pepper. It's peppery and green without being overly spicy. Again, it's really elegant and subtle. They just feel kind of classy, you know? Like you're wearing a perfume, because I have tried these on my skin as well. You're wearing a perfume, but you don't want to announce it to the world. I always go for things that are really loud, and it's nice to take it down a few notches and slow it down a little bit and just really just get involved in the smell of something and just try and feel stuff out. You know, there's no crazy story with the perfume. It's just about smell this and like it. This one really reminds me of something, but I can't remember what. But for now, yeah, it's slightly peppery and I really like, there's one material in here that I really like, and it's not the cedarwood, unfortunately, but I just can't figure out what it is. You can definitely feel violet leaf, but this one is so well blended. Oh my gosh. Alexis Dadier made this one. Sorry, I should have said. I'm not actually familiar with his or her work. But yeah, gentle. This reminds me of some of the Amouage ones I smelled recently. There was one that was a kind of sandalwood green one, and I think it was made by that lady perfumer that has a minimalist style. This feels like one of hers, but it's done very elegantly again. So let's move on to Cashmere Velvet. So Cashmere Velvet is the one that my friend Matt was shouting about. He said, make sure you try that one. It's amazing. So this is Ostens molecule fragrance. A lot of them are kind of completely natural materials that have got other things around them. This one they're saying, okay, let's play with a molecule. And from my knowledge, Cashmere is a woody material that smells a little bit like gently like earth in a way. So this one was made by Sophie Lab as well, and it says warm and enveloping, Cashmere Velvet is reassuringly comforting and familiar. This soothing, stylish scent blends cashmere, sandalwood and slightly charred cedarwood shavings together with a hint of Madagascan vanilla to imitate the texture of velvet and the softness of cashmere. The top notes are amyris oil. Amyris is used, perfumers use amyris oil to replace sandalwood or to give the feeling of sandalwood, so I am told. There's olibanum oil, which is frankincense. Then you have Cashmere Velvet, which is their fantasy accord for this one. Heart notes are cedarwood, sandalwood and orris accord. And the base notes are vanilla bean extract, patchouli heart and musks. Now this one, I can really feel sandalwood in here. I can feel sandalwood more than I can feel cashmere. This is a really beautiful, light, ever so slightly buttery sandalwood smell with other woody things going on. I can feel a cedar woody type smell in here as well. I can smell cedarwood in this one more than I can in the cedarwood perfume actually. I can imagine that this one layered with the cashmere oil that you would get if you bought it would be incredible. This one to me is kind of transparent. It's a little bit kind of tender and quiet, and it's a touch green, but only from frankincense. It doesn't smell like an incense perfume, but I can feel the touch of coniferousness from frankincense in this. Coniferousness, ooh. But yeah, mainly this is a cedarwood, sandalwood. Cashmere to me is more earthy, so it's probably hidden in there. You know, these molecules, they can be transparent and they can be quiet or just a feeling as opposed to a note. So this one, it kind of has something a little bit Santal 33 about it, and I don't mean that to be an insult or anything to the two guys. I'm not saying anything bad, but it's because they're both woody perfumes in this realm. Maybe Santal 33 has a lot of cashmere in it, I'm not sure, but it's in that realm, but it's quiet and it's got a lot more actual sandalwood smell to it. So we're going to move on to the two florals because those are my two favorites, so I wanted to end on those. So let's do Impression Jasmine Absolute. This one was made by Bruno Jovanovic. And let me spray this. This one was really, really pretty. So they do have two florals. They have a couple of woodies. So this one, oh, I just got the waft of it. It says, this is jasmine reimagined, alive, bright and full bloom. It's the memory of a perfect Mediterranean summer's evening, dining under the stars surrounded by an abundance of white flowers scenting the air. The combination of Egyptian jasmine, violet leaves and ylang ylang is surprisingly light and fresh, with a cologne-like simplicity that feels cool and crisp after a day in the sun. Oh man, it's beautiful. Okay, so the top notes are gardenia living, black pepper oil, violet leaves. Heart notes are jasmine absolute from Egypt, davana oil, ylang ylang extra, davana, lavandin absolute. And the base notes are vanilla woods, soft musks, sandalwood mineral cord, and peach. This is so incredibly pretty. I can't even tell you, the way that the jasmine is placed in here, this has zero indole, there's nothing heady or scratchy or, you know, jasmine kind of hits you, it hits your nose really strongly. In true fashion of like all of the others, this is kind of smoothed out a little bit, very delicate, very elegant. I can imagine if, you know, they say dining outside in an evening in the Mediterranean. I've done that many times. I can imagine if I smelled this on someone just gently wafting from another table that I would be wondering what it was that they were wearing. Everything here is done, like I said, with a purity and a class, and that's what I really like about this brand. I think it's such a good niche brand to start with because you're getting to smell materials and there's no wackadoodle stories or you know, unconventional things happening. It's just about that. This is so nice. It's a touch, I don't know, not soapy, but it smells like a very elegant French soap. That's what it smells like to me. I don't really feel ylang ylang, but there is a smoothness in it, so I guess the ylang is doing that. There's so much other stuff going on. I mean, black pepper, violet leaves, lavandin, vanilla, sandalwood. This is a beautifully friendly floral perfume that I would want to just lavish myself with, and it's my second favourite of the bunch. Really pretty jasmine. Oh, so nice. I'm going to wear this in the middle of summer. I saved the rose oil esparta for last because Dominique Ropion made this one and it happens to be my favourite. I know you're probably going to sit there and say, he only likes it because Dominique Ropion made it, but it's not true. I just prefer, I like this one the best. It wouldn't have mattered who made it. So this one was made by the lovely Dominique Ropion, and it says, unexpectedly, Rose Esparta is bold and genderless. A voluptuous, addictive floral full of ripe, jammy blackcurrant and crushed Turkish rose petals lifted by pink peppercorn. This intriguing, intense, almost Middle Eastern interpretation of rose is instantly warm and enveloping. Already loved by fragrance aficionados, Rose Oil Esparta impression is fast developing a cult following. Is it? Well, it's just got one more follower. I am subscribing to Rose Oil Esparta. Oh my gosh, this is so nice because it's not just rose. Okay, top notes, Tunisian rosemary, coriander seeds, cardamom from Ceylon, pink pepper, heart notes, blackcurrant bud absolute, orange flower absolute, rose essential oil and Esparta rose essential oil. Esparta is a place in Turkey where roses grow in abundance and they produce some of the best rose oil you can get. The base notes are patchouli oil, labdanum resinoid and cashmere. There's a lot of crossover with the materials, but all of the perfumes smell so different from each other. I can't stress that enough. So this is so wonderful. It's not just about rose. I can really feel orange blossom in this one as well. So if you're an orange blossom fan and you're a rose fan, this could be a dream perfume for you because I can smell both in tandem and it works so beautifully. The rose oil in here is playful, it's jammy, it's light, it's not too stuffy, the same way that all of their perfumes feel, not overly done, not too complicated, but showcased really well. There's powderiness in this one. There's everything you would expect from a delicate rose, not a clean, crisp rose, but then not a vintage powdery one. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. And the orange blossom just accents it perfectly. Oh. So nice. I could just smell this one all day. This does have some heavier materials in the base like patchouli and labdanum and stuff like that, but it's all together light. So elegant. If I smelled this on someone, I would say, you know how to pick a rose perfume. I'm such a fan of this, and obviously Dominique Ropion is a genius and he knows how to work with flowers, especially roses. So nice. I mean, there's a big list of notes there, but really for me, I smell orange blossom and rose, and other things must be doing their job somewhere along the line, but that's where my brain goes and it's all I need. I don't need anything else from this perfume other than this gorgeous rose oil from Esparta and this orange blossom absolute. The orange blossom in here, orange blossom can be kind of green and honeyed and kind of a bit planty smelling sometimes and quite dense, and again, light. It's like eau de orange blossom or something, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That is my spotlight on Ostens. I've talked more than enough. I just wanted to say thanks to the guys. I was recommended to reach out to them, or they contacted me. I'm glad I've got to try these. I actually work really near where they're based, so I might go and see them if they've got a showroom. I love them. The two florals, my favourites by far. But like I've said, and I won't repeat myself too much, if you want a simplistic, stripped back, but very well constructed perfume brand, perfumes being well constructed, I would recommend trying these guys out if you're not into the overly fussy, shouty, crazy backstory, you know, unicorn tears fragrances that I usually like. Then yeah, simple elegance done to perfection. Anyway guys, I'm Ouch110. I hope you like this video. Trying to make the world smell better, one video at a time. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.